Good evening, welcome back to the Fire Burns Within channel. Sunday night, had a good day. Time to discuss power metal again, power heavy metal. This time I'm talking about Spanish power metal, Spanish heavy metal, Spanish classic metal, whatever you want to call it, heavy rock. Spain is like it's not a country that I know very well, but I know some of their famous bands quite well. The thing I notice about Spain is that the heavy metal bands in Spain, or the power metal bands in Spain, they mainly sing in Spanish. They're not that confident enough to sing in English. There are a few that sing in English, or they do a mix, but they do some English or mainly English. But there's an absolute shed load of Spanish heavy metal bands, old school melodic metal bands, power metal bands, whatever you want to call it, traditional style I'm only talking about in this video, that sing all in Spanish, which is understandable actually, because when they sing in English their confidence gets reduced, and then they get criticism for mistakes in the vocabulary, mistakes in the grammar, and it's sometimes a little bit awkward sounding as well. You know, it's difficult for them, but I mean they can do it, but it's just easier for them to sing in their mother tongue, so it's quite understandable that they do that. And the bands I've picked here in my list, I haven't picked any specific albums. I'm just gonna go talk through the bands and say what I know about them. I mean, some of these are all Spanish. I mean, I think pretty much most of them are all Spanish, Spanish-speaking bands, Spanish lyrics. Anyway, let's start this discussion. First band is Darkmoor. Darkmoor I've always liked. I consider them to be basically the Spanish version of Rhapsody of Fire, or whatever way you want to call it. They're very similar in feel to Rhapsody. They sort of started maybe, I think, just about the same time, or possibly a year later, I'm not sure, roughly the same time as Rhapsody's first album. Darkmoor had a female vocalist, Alyssa Martin. She's been in quite a few bands. She's sort of like, I think she's semi-retired now. She does the odd guest vocal. I've seen her in like in an album with she was a singer in Fairyland, and which is a French band, strangely enough, but she sang on their latest album, Fairyland's latest album. But anyway, Darkmoor is a very cool band. They've had 11 albums in their career, quite a long career, as you can see. Very cool band, very melodic. They always sing in English, which is good, it's fine. It's better for me anyway. I understand more of what's going on. I'm more likely to want to listen to something if I can understand the lyrics. But I can enjoy non-English bands as well, as we'll see. Next band is Valdemar. Valdemar is a very different type of power metal band. It's a very heavy band, still very melodic, very throaty vocals. I call them like the Spanish Gravedigger, if you like. You know, they're like quite similar to Gravedigger in feel, and they got the same sort of vocal style, very powerful, very heavy. They've got a new album coming out just now, Straight to Hell. It's going to be good. I definitely recommend Valdemar if you like power metal to be more heavy and not so symphonic or operatic sounding. Next band is Lords of Black, with 4 albums now. Ronnie Romero on vocals again. He was in the band before, he left the band, and now they've got him back. They had Diego Valdez and he's gone again, and they got Romero back. Lords of Black is a very cool band, melodic, heavy metal, power metal, if you like. A very cool band. Only the 4 albums. So they're not been going for a terribly long time, but a good few years now. Very cool band. I mean, very melodic. Ronnie Romero, he's quite a name in the scene these days, with his singing for Richie Blackmore's Rainbow, or the current incarnation of Rainbow. Lords of Black is solid. I mean, it's heavy, it's modern, it's melodic, it's sort of slightly hard rockish as well, but it's also very powerful as well, can be very heavy. Next band is a old classic Spanish traditional metal band. If you follow the Spanish scene, you will know this band very well. They're called Saratoga. I don't know them so well that I could tell you albums because they're all in Spanish, but all I know is when I listen to Saratoga, I hear great metal, great melodic metal, throaty vocals, very heavy melodic riffs, very typical traditional heavy metal. Saratoga, they've had a lot of albums, 13 albums according to my count, or give or take. Very, very long running band. They must have started way back in the 80s. Very cool band. I haven't heard nothing from them recently, so I don't know what they're up to, but Saratoga is a band that if you want to get into Spanish power metal or Spanish classic heavy metals, Saratoga is one of the ones that you definitely must check out. Okay, next one. Again, this band is like what I call Saratoga's sort of like rival band, if you like. They are Tierra Santa, another very long-running Spanish heavy metal band. Must have started in the 80s, maybe mid to late 80s. I'm not sure exactly. They've got 11 albums. Basically, Tierra Santa, I call them the Spanish Iron Maiden. They've got a lot of the same feel, a lot of the same sort of epicness that Maiden has. They do long songs as well, like Maiden. They do short, speedy songs like Maiden. Are very cool. I call them like, say if Saratoga is Priest, then Tierra Santa is Maiden to Saratoga's Priest, and you can see the rivalry between these two huge Spanish bands. So either one is like a must check if you want to delve into Spanish melodic heavy metal. You must try Tierra Santa and Saratoga. Next band is Warcry. Warcry is not a band I know well. I think they do some albums in English, if I'm not wrong. They're very cool though. They've got 8 albums. I only recently, sort of like over the last, say, 2, 3, 4 years, I started listening to some Warcry, and I found them to be really a cool band. Quite melodic, very heavy band, pretty speedy, catchy band. Like, if you like all these bands that I've mentioned, definitely give Warcry from Spain a shot. Okay, next band is a long-running band. I'm not sure when they started. They play sort of a lighter melodic power metal. They're called Avalanche. They've got 13 albums, a long career. I haven't heard too much of them recently again. I mean, I don't tend to really religiously follow, but if these albums release an album and I see it on a release schedule, I'll say, oh, it's Avalanche, oh, it's Tierra Santa, oh, they're back. It just triggers something in me to check out these Spanish bands. And Avalanche is not like one of my absolute favorites in Spain, but they've got a massive albums, very long career, very melodic band, not such a really heavy band, quite a light melodic band, if you like. If you need sort of more catchier, sort of almost hard rockish melodies, but also sort of you know, still power metal-y, then give Avalanche a chance. Next band is a very long-running Spanish band. I think they must have formed like very early 80s. I mean, I don't know them well because they're sort of like a folky band. If you follow Spanish metal, you'll know this band immediately. I say the name. They're called Mago de Oz. Mago de Oz, Mago de Oz. I don't know how you pronounce it exactly. These guys have been going a long time. They're like almost like a folky, sort of folk rock metal band. Some of their albums are a little bit heavier. Some of them are much lighter, depending on style. They've got a glut of albums, like, I don't know, 15, 16, 17. I'm not exactly sure, but it's a glut. It's more than 15. They've been going so long. I mean, they've got a lot of fans in their homeland. Mago de Oz is like some kind of, you can say, the Iron Maiden of their homeland, even though the music is not really Maidenish. It's sort of, I don't know, it's sort of folkish, mid-paced rock with melodies, sometimes metallic a little bit pacier, but in general it's sort of, the folk angle seems to be very high with this band. But if you haven't heard Mago de Oz, definitely give them a chance. You might enjoy some of their stuff. The next band is quite an underrated band for me. They're called Sphinx. They've got 5 albums out. I really like this band. One of their albums in particular is a huge favorite of mine. It's called Paraíso en la Eternidad, I think. It's basically an Iron Maiden copy album. I mean, I know Tierra Santa is the #1 Iron Maiden copy, but Sphinx is like right up there with them, like in the Iron Maiden worship stakes. Especially on that album. I mean, it's such a cool album, so melodic. It's like basically a mix between Somewhere in Time and, say, I don't know, the albums around Somewhere in Time, like Power Slave, I don't know, all those kind of mid to late 80s Iron Maiden albums is what Sphinx is like. Very, very cool singer as well. Very cool album. Definitely check out Sphinx if you want to check out Spanish heavy metal. 4 bands left to mention. The next band is called Sentinella. I don't know Sentinella that well, but every time I've heard them, I've really enjoyed their music. It's again, it's catchy, upbeat, melodic heavy metal, power metal if you like. Very cool riffs, good solid production, a good singer, obviously singing all in Spanish. Yeah, I forgot to say Sphinx, Mago de Oz, Avalanche, these guys all sing in Spanish, no English in these guys' bands. But Sentinella, they've had 9 albums, so they've got quite a long career. But they're a very cool band. I mean, I really like Sentinella. Every time I hear little bits and pieces of their stuff on YouTube, I think, yeah, Sentinella is really quite cool. They've got a lot of cool songs. 3 bands to mention. This band I don't know well at all. They're called Zarpa, Z-A-R-P-A. They've got a 20 album career, formed in 1977. And I've never really heard of them, but I checked them out and I thought this Zarpa is quite good. It's like, depending on what era you listen to, they've got sort of like rockish eras, a melodic era, more heavy metal era. They've got all sorts of songs. A very cool band and very, very long career. I mean, they've been going yonks. They must be so old now, but they released an album even last year in 2019, which I never knew about, but I've checked a little bit of it out on YouTube and it sounds really good. I mean, it's melodic, heavy metal, it's good stuff. So Zarpa, definitely a long running, probably a stalwart of the Spanish power metal scene. And I'd never really heard of them compared to some of these other bands. They don't have any worldwide profile at all, but in Spain, they're probably a household name, but definitely check out Zappa. Two bands left to mention. First one is Red Wine. These ones are not too well known. They're like a melodic power metal band. Not so heavy, quite mid-paced at times. Still very melodic, lots of keyboards. They've got 5 albums out. Red Wine, I think they sing in Spanish for the most part, or maybe 100%. I'm not 100% sure what they do, but I think anything I've heard has been in Spanish. But well worth checking out Red Wine if you like power metal. And the last band to mention here is a very famous band from Spain, Baron Rojo. Very cool band, classic 80s heavy metal, melodic metal, sometimes hard rock, but mostly heavy metal. Mid-paced, catchy, lots of albums, 13 albums by my count overall. Lots of cool songs, lots of melodies. A very good singer, Baron Rojo. I'm not sure if they've swapped singer a lot, they might have done. But Baron Rojo is like one of those old-time classic Spanish bands that, you know, if you want to check out the Spanish power metal, heavy metal scene, Baron Rojo is like, it's in the top 5 to listen to. So there you have it. These are the ones that stood out for me. There's a glut of bands in Spain. If you go to a list on the internet and you just put in Spanish heavy metal, Spanish power metal, you'll get a long list. I mean, Spanish heavy metal is quite popular, but because most of them, you know, the vast majority don't sing in English, they don't travel overseas well. Their music doesn't, you know, broaden their horizon past their own border. It stays, you know, within their own border. But some bands become bigger, like the ones that do venture out and start singing in English. So this was my list: Darkmoor, Valdemar, Lords of Black, Saratoga, Tierra Santa, Warcry, Avalanche, Mago de Oz, Sphinx, Sentinella, Zappa, Red Wine, and Baron Rojo. Okay, check out the Spanish bands. Stay tuned.